Hi, Kerry here again. I want to talk to you a little bit more about retirement. I may have told you I've been retired actually since 2005. Sold my financial planning business and basically decided I wanted to pursue life at my own pace and enjoy it and do the things I wanted to do. I've got my life basically into 9 categories that I've thought through, and I want to share with you as to how I think I have achieved the best personal retirement. The first thing I did was ask myself, what is it I liked to do? And I discovered that I like to create things. Some people like to work with their hands. Some people like to garden. I like to create things. I like to start with something non-existent and create something. The first thing I really got into was photography. No, I take that back. The first thing I got into was painting. We had a house with a lot of wall space, and I had always loved art. And I liked a lot of the classical artists. One of the artists that really fascinated me was Salvador Dali. And I saw this painting down in St. Augustine, and it's his idea of the start of the power of the United States. And you see the naked man coming out of the egg, and you see South America over here. And this is the birth of the United States as a result of getting involved in World War II. And I thought it was such a beautiful painting that I wanted it, but I didn't have probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $5-10 million that the art museum, Salvador Dali's art museum in St. Augustine, would want for it. So I decided to paint it myself, and I've painted a lot of the paintings in our house, and I have Van Goghs, I have Degas. I actually would go to a museum and find a painting that I liked, and then come home and sketch it on a canvas, and then paint it. What I found is that takes a lot of time, and so I enjoyed the art element of it. So I decided I thought I would like to get involved in photography. And this is an example of a photograph that I did. I actually went and found some guys playing volleyball on the beach and took a picture of them. And then I did what is called posterization. That is, by breaking the negative down into multiple parts and assigning different colors to it, you can create something of an abstract a piece of art. And so for where I don't have paintings hanging in my house, I have photography. Have I ever gotten to a point where I wanted to sell it? Well, I may have wanted to sell it, but I never did. It never turned into any monetization or anything of that nature. It just in fact, at one point I had a dark room in my basement, and developed the film and the whole thing. But now, of course, that's all moved to digital photography, and that element of photography I use now today. I understand lighting, I understand composure, and so hobby. Find a hobby that you want that satisfies you, and that's exactly what I did. The next thing that we did was travel. We had been exposed to travel quite a bit as a result of my involvement with Ameriprise Financial Advisors. I was always in the top 10 of the advisors, so every year they would take what they called the President's Club, and that was the top 100 advisors all around the world. And we saw France, we saw Italy, we saw just about most of the world. And then after I left Ameriprise, Nita and I took cruises. We went to China. We've been to Cambodia, Vietnam. I wanted to go to Vietnam to find out why we went to Vietnam in the war in the 70s, and I'll cover that in another video. But we really fulfilled our desire for travel, and In fact, the first 5 years of our retirement, we traveled a lot. I was lucky that I had enough money to pretty much spend for us to spend to travel. A $10,000 2 week excursion was no big thing. But again, I was involved in the stock market. I knew how to invest my money. I knew I was involved in real estate. I knew how to do that. And so travel. So I would say number two is travel. Number three, I think is really important is to teach. I spent the first half, well, 3/4 of my life learning. I became good. I became good at selling. I became good as a financial advisor. So I decided I wanted to teach. And that really is what has that turned this YouTube channel into. It's a teaching effort. I spend time teaching. I started out writing blogs, and then I even thought at one point of going to the high school and teaching, and I tried it once. I didn't find I got the respect I wanted standing in front of a group of high school students. So that didn't really give me the satisfaction I wanted, and that could have been me. Maybe I didn't speak their language or present it in such a manner that they found it interesting. But I think that's another thing you should consider. I would say that's number three, is to teach. And another thing that I'm learning how to do, I'm involved in real estate, and I've gained the knowledge of how to evaluate homes to purchase and then fix up and turn into rental property. So I have created a course, and we're right at this point putting that course together. And I used a company called Teachable. And in essence, what they do is they give you the framework. No, they sell you the framework so that you create the modules, and then they help within their framework. You present it, and they actually then monetize it for you, help you monetize it. So someone, if they want to go to your course and learn it, they pay for it. Teachable then is the means by which they collect the money. They take a cut, and you get paid. Now, the beautiful part about teaching on video is, unlike teaching in a class, every year or every time you teach, you go and you make your presentation. But teaching on YouTube or some other format on video is you put it out there and it's there for life. If somebody comes this month, you get paid for it. If they come next month, and you build, it creates an ongoing source of income, which isn't a bad thing in retirement. So if you've got something that you can share and teach, there are means by which you can video it, just like I'm doing right here, and teach it, put it into a structure, and Teachable helps you do that, and it creates an income, a lifetime income. In fact, the income will go on even after your lifetime. Okay, number four is volunteer. Shortly after I retired, I got involved with the Rotary. It is a volunteer organization, and I guess it's kind of an organized volunteering. But if you have an interest in volunteering at the hospital, volunteering at the library, all kinds of volunteering, because I think what happens there, and what the beauty of volunteer, you get interaction with people. You create a reason to get up in the morning and participate in life, and I think that's just paramount. If you don't have a reason, you become a pretty boring individual. And I see a lot of my peers that have become very boring people because they don't expand their life, or if they do, they only do it in one genre. They don't have other things that they're pursuing. Right. That's my item number five, my suggestion. And I know you say, I'm not a writer. Look, don't tell me that. I'm dyslexic. Didn't discover I was dyslexic until I got into my 60s when I saw Henry Winkler the Fonz on a Sunday morning show, and they asked him about how he got involved in dramatics, and he said, "Well, I was a very poor student. In fact, and in the terms of, I think he's Jewish, they have a Hebrew word for a dumb dog." He said, "That's what my parents called me, the dumb dog." And he said, "But then I realized that I was dyslexic." And they asked him, "How did you learn that?" He said, "Well, I was reading and I realized my mind could not process a 3-syllable word. So as I would come through a 3-syllable word, I would have to stop and sound it out and then register it in my mind. And I got up and I read a book and I thought, oh my God, that's what it is. I'm dyslexic." I take that as a badge of courage because it dismisses what I believed for the preceding 60 years, that I was just dumb, that I was not a good student, that I just had to work harder than the average person because I wasn't given all my faculties. No, I have a cognitive learning disability. If I had a badge, I could wear it, I would. But I learned to write. I learned that my mind could do it. I even did where I would dictate it into a recording device and send it off to a company, and then they would translate it into the written word. I would then send it to someone, and they would edit it, and we'd write a book. There, I've got 4 books. This is the last one, The Power of the Tribe. This is my favorite one, Who Are You and Why Are You? I did this book basically as I explained to you. I dictated it, I sent it off. They what was it? They charged me something like $1 for every 100 words, and they put it into book form. I then got an editor, we produced it, and this is an excellent book. The first one I wrote was Tall Grass. It's about the first 14 years of my life. And then in another video, I've talked to you about the children's book that I wrote and had produced and distributed. So don't put the limits on yourself that, hell, I couldn't write a book. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can, because you have learned so much over the first part of your life that you need to share. Now, will it be a bestseller and will you make a bunch of money off it? Probably not. But I would say in this book, I've got a total of maybe $2,000 invested in it. It's printed by Amazon through their Kindle program, and it's print on demand, meaning that there's no warehouse sitting with them in stock. They print them as someone orders them. Now, do I sell books? Yeah, I do, because I talk about them in my videos. So you bring your writing into the other part of your life. The other thing I think about this, both the painting, the art, and the books, I'm leaving something behind. That's what I'm doing here. I will never die. I will never die. I have books, I have art, I have photography, I have videos. So that's what I do. Then I got involved in sports. I was very involved in sports in high school, even in college. I ran track, and I came across I Googled Olympics. My grandson and I were watching Olympics, and my grandson asked me, Papa, how come you never participated in the Olympics? And I couldn't answer his question. And so I came across Senior Olympics. What's Senior Olympics? Well, I learned back, I guess it was in 2011, that there is an organization here in the United States that puts on the Senior Olympics. It has every sport you can think of, from pickleball to tennis to track and field to cycling, and I got involved. I was a good sprinter in high school, and so I said, well, I think I'll go out to the track and see if I can still run. Well, these medals you see here are my medals that I've earned, and then I also did biking on it. I have a Pinarello road bike that I race, and it keeps me in shape. But I'm now recognized as the fastest 75 to 80-year-old in the state of Alabama. Fastest, what's that mean? I can run a 50-meter, a 100-meter, and a 200-meter dash faster than any other 75 or 80-year-old, 75 to 80-year-old who has showed up at the track, because every 2 years they have qualifications, and then the following year, they have a national event. 10,000 athletes show up, actually more athletes than show up for the Olympics, because they're broke down in 5-year categories, starting, I believe it's at 50 to 55, and they go all the way up to 105. We have 105-year-olds who show up to participate in Olympics. So these are people who they're traveling with this. In track and field, there's a master's category. You could run every weekend. You could compete if you wish to. Now, again, at the Jewish Community Center where I work out at sometimes, they have pickleball. They have handball. Anything you might want to do. Go to Google and just type in Senior Olympics and find it. Next year, it's in 2022, the Senior Olympics will be in Orlando. You'll meet me down there. I'll be on the track and field. I'll be that old guy running the 50, the 100, and the 200 meters. And if I get my guts up, I might run the 400 meter. So, sports, a part-time job. What's my part-time job? This right here. This has become more than a part-time job, but I love it. It keeps me active. It keeps me interested. It not only do I make money creating YouTube, but because on my other channel, Bust of Us Investors, I'm up on the stock market. I have thought through my investment philosophy, and I make money at it. In 19, I believe it was, I made 30% on my investments, and in 20, I made 60. Thus far this year, I'm up 22%. So I'm making money as well as learning and doing the kind of things that I enjoy doing. And I think that's what retirement should be about. And that's number 8, and that's learn new things. Now, where do I learn most of my new things? I read. But wait, I don't read because I'm dyslexic. So what I do is I sign up. It's another Amazon site, and that is Audible. And what is Audible? I take my phone and I put a book on it. It costs me, I sign up for $16 a month, and I get a new book every month. If I get the book and I don't like it, I just go on, just like everything else with Amazon. If I don't like it, I send it back, and they give me my credit back, and I buy another book. So I get out as part of my exercise, and I listen to books, and I learn. And I use that learning to share with other people. And that's, again, my YouTube channel over on bestofusinvestors.com. And then the last thing I think is wonderful about retirement is it gives you an opportunity to keep in touch with your family. As you grow up with your brothers and your sisters and your cousins and your friends, and then you go off and you pursue a living and you raise children, and those people all kind of move to the side and you forget about them. But again, and this is, I got to give credit to Facebook. I got involved in Facebook. I went to a different junior high school in Champaign, Illinois. Then we moved to Indianapolis, where I went to high school. Then I went to Ball State up in Muncie, Indiana. And so I have a collection of friends that I've left in my wake. But through Facebook, they've all come back. And we share things, and we share our pictures of our kids and our grandkids and what we're doing and how we're having fun. And that's part of it. Another element of that brings travel back into it. I have brothers. I have 3 brothers. I grew away from them. But now, once a year, the brothers and the cousins go on a trip. Last year we didn't do it because of the coronavirus. The year before we rented a beautiful log house in the Smokies and met up there and ate and drank and went into Pigeon Forge and just had a wonderful time. The year before that, 2 years before that, we went on a cruise. And again, just had a wonderful time, and we'll probably do that again in 2022. So that's how my retirement, and I'll mention this again, as I said, I break my life down in 2 parts. Before retirement, that was the first half. And after retirement. Now, do I believe I retired, I guess, when I was 53 years? Do I believe I'll live to 106? Yeah, I do. Because I take MNN. Where is that? It's a supplement that gives me all this energy. You can find a link to it down in the description. That's why I'm able to run a 100-meter dash. It takes me somewhere between 16 and 20 seconds. I think right now it would take me 20 seconds, but I'll get it down to 16 or 17 by this time next year when I compete. After I do this, I'm going to go on a 3-mile walk. Actually, it's a 3-mile jog, and I'll get my heart rate up to about 170, and my blood. I read this book. It's Lifespan. And Robert Sinclair says at least twice a week, you should imagine that you and 3 other people are out in the jungle, and a Bengal tiger comes, and one of you is going to get killed. Okay, so you got to run as fast as you can, or at least as faster than one other person, and that's what I do at the track. I just take my heart rate and just push it as high as I can, because of what I know I need to do is open up my arteries and open up my veins and open up my capillaries and push that blood into my muscle mass that is disappearing awful damn fast, and get my body active again. So that's the 9 things that I would suggest you focus on, or find your own 9. You don't have to do what I do. And make your life, the second half, better than the first half. Use everything you learned in the first half to make the second half the best half. All right, that's my take on how the 9 things that have enriched my retirement.